Hi, welcome to Analyzing Songs with Music by Mads. I'm your host, Maddie, and let's roll the intro. Hi everyone, and welcome to my first post. Today we'll be discussing Somebody to Love by Queen, which is one of my favorite songs, but first I'm going to talk about how this is going to work. I mentioned this in my About Me post, which some of you might have missed. And before we even go into that, I'm going to apologize in advance. My throat is a little sore from allergy season. My voice is getting a little croaky. Everything's starting to come out here where I live. So I might be taking some water breaks and just my singing will be horrible because I do sing some stuff, just to give you a thing. Also, don't mind my fuzzy sock on my microphone. It's helping keep the noise a little bit down. And there was one more thing I wanted to tell you, and I forgot. So, yeah, we're just going to start talking about what I'm going to be doing on this channel. Each week I'll be diving into a song and analyzing its production, lyrics, and overall storytelling. Things may be added along the way, but those are our three main categories. Once a month, I will be doing one of two things, a production-specific post and analyzing an album. I won't be doing both every month. I wish that, but that is a little too much right now, but this is something that will alternate. This month is a production project, as this kind of started as a school project for my basic audio engineering course, and more details will come about that later. And if you see me looking over to the side while I'm filming, that's because I'm reading my post that I have already written for my blog as a script for this. So don't mind that. I'm just making sure I talk about all the things I'm supposed to talk about. You may also notice that I have an intro in all of my videos, and that is not included in the text of my posts. I figured you wouldn't want to read that over and over, so I'm not including it. I've also included the 1976 Fair Use Act in regards to copyright. As I'm doing commentary on songs and albums, it is protected, and the photos that I've used in the text version of this post are also protected by Creative Commons licenses, and I've also included the source website of each photo. Today is our first song post, and as I said earlier, we'll be talking about Queen's Somebody to Love. I'm sure everyone thought it was going to be a Taylor Swift song, which it almost was. So I'm sorry to disappoint this week or give you a feeling of relief. I will be diving into a variety of pop and pop-leaning rock music. So yes, this does mean that Taylor Swift will be a lot of it. If you don't like it, suck it up, I guess. I'm kidding. Don't worry. In reality, her songs are a production and lyrical goldmine, so it's perfect for what I want to achieve, and it's a discography that I know really well. So that's helpful for you guys, because then I know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, back to the topic of the day. Somebody to Love is an Aretha Franklin-inspired song written and produced by Queen. Freddie Mercury loved the gospel feel of her song, so he wrote a rock song with a gospel feel. Their audio engineer on the project was Mike Stone, and the project was remastered in 2011. I couldn't find any information on by who, which is the version of the song I listened to for this post. When songs are remastered, they take the original unmastered mix of a song and apply modern mastering techniques to give it a more updated sound. So what you hear on the radio has been mastered and mixed to make sure it sounds really nice for you. Many songs from big artists like Queen, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, and the Beatles have all been remastered, sometimes multiple times. I listened to the 2011 version of this song, which is the version I listened to. I think I mentioned that. It is linked in my blog post if you want to go listen to that song but don't want to have to go search it on your own. But there's also a 2014 version. I think there's one earlier, maybe 2004, 2005. I'd have to double check. Another fun thing about Somebody to Love is that it was recorded before the digital age. Meaning, instead of a DAW, or digital audio workstation, they used tape. The multi-tracks were recorded to tapes and mixed through a large format mixing console. Most of these consoles had EQs, which are equalizers, and dynamics processing on every channel, as well as faders for volume. But if you wanted to do any processing that wasn't built into the mixer, you needed outboard gear, otherwise known as a bunch of extra stuff. That extra stuff could include compressors, more EQs, noise gates, expanders, distortion, reverbs, and multi-effects processors. If you have no idea what any of that means, that's okay. I will be putting a vocabulary page onto my blog very shortly. I'll probably link it in the blog post and do it before I post it for tomorrow. That way you can learn about those a little bit. I will be talking about them a lot, and we'll talk about them more and more as we learn and grow together. Just know for right now, in the analog world, that all just means expensive. Most reverb is done digitally now, but many artists utilize the spaces they were in for reverb. The microphones they used are called condenser mics, and they have been around since the late 1940s. They were very popular and are still pretty popular in use for recording. If the only thing you retain from this section is producing was really expensive in the analog age, then I will be happy. Is producing still expensive now? Yes, just in a very different way. Now that we've covered that ground, let's finally talk about the actual song. Queen is known for their creativity within the rock genre, from an operatic rock album to a gospel feel rock song to a disco rock song. They have everything. Part of what makes it so amazing is the production on their songs. Panning is very commonly used in production to give sound more depth, so let's take a look at how they do it in this song. Our lead vocals, lead guitar, and drums are all pulled center, so if you were to take out one headphone, you would still hear these lines very clearly. It is also easy to identify which lines are pulled to the center just by listening. As soon as you start panning left and right, it gets a little bit harder to identify without carefully listening. I don't know how this format is going to probably be flipped for you guys, since I'm not using a camera that flips it for me. So right hand over here, left hand over here for YouTube watchers. It's harder because there are so many options. Often panning is done on a scale or on a digital knob, so you can control exactly how far it goes. Some things might be only be heard in one ear, while others might have a little sound left over in the other one. And the piano and bass are great examples of this in this song. You can hear the bass lines in both the piano and the actual bass more clearly in your left ear than in your right. You can still hear a little bit over here, but it's mostly here. The treble lines of the piano are more clear in the right ear. This is helping build an openness to the sound that is crucial for the storytelling. The background vocals are a whole different story. These vocals are completely panned left or right, and you can hear certain harmonies on each side. If you don't believe me, give the song a listen with headphones on and pull out one headphone at a time during those chords. You'll hear more higher harmonies in your right ear and middle harmonies in your left. It builds a great space for the sound. Another thing that is used really well in this song, I don't know why I use that inflection, but it's really, used really well, is layering. And my favorite example is in my favorite part of the song, which is the big build-up to the cadenza-like part. It's, one of the most iconic parts of the song, and it starts with some quiet bass vocals on the tagline, the "Find me somebody to love," and then adds in some harmonies as they crescendo. It starts in an octave, and then they add some more middle harmonies, and then you hear a very pulled back drum that just kind of goes do 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 as they keep going. And then you keep adding some more harmonies, and then one person starts clapping. They do the little. And as they keep crescendoing, which adds to the drama of the layering, it just creates a big, giant effect, a cool effect of, this is getting really way louder. When they're staying within a pretty controlled space with the dynamics, they're just adding a lot of voices that makes the crescendo seem more dramatic. But they layer in more claps and voices. And that's when they start putting in some variety in the rhythms and the notes. So you go from that steady, find me somebody to love, to a different rhythm where it, suspends kind of the time that you're feeling. It stays in rhythm with the song, but it suspends, what you were used to in that part where it goes, find me somebody to love. And then they very suddenly go back to that original rhythm. But then they change it again into a very, very, a driving somebody, 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 find me somebody to love. And it's just, it takes a different, turn than you're looking for. And after that, it opens back up into the tagline of the chorus, can anybody find me? And they hold it which is when Freddie's cute little cadenza happens, and he has like big monster riff that I won't sing for you, but he's got it. A very underrated part of a song like this is the silence. Take the beginning, for example. The tagline is introduced right away, but not in the way we get used to in the song. It's more like, and I'm gonna like weird rap it for you guys, just so it like kind of drives in the effect. Can anybody find me somebody to love? And it's very spaced out and has lots of room to breathe. If you think of Zootopia, that came out in 2016, you know, like the fun Disney movie with the animals, it's like Flash from the DMV, where that's how all of them talk. It's just very like, I am speaking to you right now. Just very like spaced out and wonderful, except it doesn't sound awkward when it's in music form because they're just holding notes, and it's very spaced out and has lots of room to breathe. And what it's doing is creating a sense of longing, which is the purpose of the whole song, and that's that part of the storytelling I'm talking about. There's so many strategies to create that feeling of longing, like the instrumentation which we've talked a little bit about, the spaces, which we just mentioned, the modulations and secondary chords, which is something we're going to talk about in just a second, a little bit, rhythmic differences, as we've already talked about, and the layering, as we've already discussed. We basically have hit all the points except for the modulation, which is what we're going to talk about, because it's one of my favorite parts, and that's where all the secondary chords happen. It starts when Freddie sings, "Every day I try and I try and I try," and it's a long temporary modulation for pop music. In classical music, it's pretty normal. They do like 7 different temporary modulations that last for like a whole page from a musician standpoint, and then you're like, I don't even know what the key was anymore. But for pop music, this is a very long temporary modulation because of how far it goes into the song. You don't hear these very often. And it finally ends at that guitar solo, like the beautiful, amazing guitar solo. And what this does is create a lot of tension. It feels different and fun. There's not really a home for the melody. It just kind of wanders and builds the tension until the last chord on the yeah, 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 yeah part, and then it like launches into that guitar solo. There are a lot of things that contribute to what makes this a great song in the production. The lyrics are just another piece to the puzzle. Throughout the song, we do feel that sense of longing and even begging. From the very beginning, we can feel that because we literally open up with a question. Can anybody find me somebody to love? Like, come on, guys. Excuse me. Just knocked my little table a little bit. As it continues, we just keep getting lyrics that contribute to that feeling. Like, I work hard every day of my life. I try and I try and I try. Everybody just wants to put me down, and I just keep losing my beat. He's so down on himself because he feels like he's doing everything he can to find that person, but he's just striking out, and his inflections just like, you can hear it in his voice that he's like, come on, like, give me something. Give me somebody to love. He's to the point of begging for it. After the guitar solo, we've got this small chorus and then another verse, and at the beginning of this verse, it seems like he's still super down on himself, but then he says, I'm alright, I ain't gonna face no defeat. Like, he's getting more confident, and you can feel him getting more hopeful as he keeps going. I just gotta get out of this prison cell, someday I'm gonna be free. And then, the big build-up happens right then, as we discussed earlier in depth. It gets stronger, and you can also feel him getting more confident, but there's definitely still this question of, like, will I ever find them? He's, like, continually repeating it, and, like, he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find me somebody to love. Or he's still questioning it, even. Like, it's really up to interpretation for how you feel on that part. Is he asking a question? Is he getting more confident? Is he, like, affirming that yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find somebody to love. But it's whatever you interpret. Maybe it's both. And as the outro plays, it gets, like, after that cadenza, as the outro plays, you're, like, getting back into that groove. You're feeling hopeful, but in the same shy way he is, and it's making you go, like, man, I want somebody to love, even if you already have someone to love. But yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite songs of all time, and I think it's a very classic song that people generally love, and the production is great, the lyrics are great, the storytelling is great. It's just one of those songs that you can't help but love, and now you know why. So yeah, that's it. That's my first post. Be on the lookout for my next post, and don't forget to fill out my suggestions form, which I've linked in the blog post. And for, like, just let me know if you'd like me to analyze or cover a song or an album. For my YouTube people, I do have a blog now. It's called musicbymads.com. Mads is spelled with 2 Ds, so it's music by and then MADDS, no spaces in between any of those .com. And it'll take you to my front page where it has my about me and it'll have my post underneath. It'll probably have the vocab article as well. I'm really excited about this. Let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about within production or lyrics, what songs you want me to talk about, obviously. But aside from that, let me know what I can do better, what I can talk about more, that you'd like to hear more of. This is my first post, and I'm going to be learning and growing with all of you on this. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm so excited about this. Be on the lookout for my next post. It's going to be a production post. I can't talk today, you guys. A production post, and I'm going to be diving into one of my other favorite songs from a very different performing artist. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye.